Hello guys and welcome back to Big Brother Day 17 and it's day 2 of the Ant Shopping Challenge and I gotta say, what a random shopping challenge. Like, what was actually going on in this challenge? I don't even understand the rules. I don't think they understood the rules, and as you'll see later on in the episode, they failed the task, but it didn't exactly seem very fair how they failed the task. So we've got a lot of drama to talk through, a lot of situations to unpack. Now, before we get into this episode, I just want to say thank you guys very, very much for the support on these videos. If you're liking what you're seeing, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff. And yeah, basically just give me any indication that you're enjoying what you're seeing. So, straight away as the episode began, the egg klaxon went off, and if I'd have woken up to that noise, I think I would have had to kick off. I'd have been like, I'm not getting that egg, because they had to get into their ant costumes, then go out to the garden, no, go to the back, like the door to the garden, get the egg, put it outside. Literally as soon as they've woken up, I was like, that's not okay. Olivia and Dylan were the ones from their respective teams that got up and got dressed, but Olivia made it out first. And apparently, Tom and Paul had been sleeping outside all night to protect the nests. I honestly, from what it looks like, the eggs meant nothing, absolutely nothing. So like, there was literally no point trying to fight for control of the eggs because it did not matter in the end. Like, the whole challenge boiled down to one thing, and I'll get onto that a little bit later, but I just thought it was an absolute waste of time, which sucked. But yeah. And then Dylan came out once he was dressed and just stole the egg back, and I was just like, ugh. Yesterday I cared because I felt like there was some kind of repercussions, but today I just don't care. I'm kind of done with the egg thing. I don't know. This wasn't my favorite shopping challenge. I still think the best one we've had is the Big Wigs one. That was really good. Last week's one was all right. It spawned a few funny moments, like the rock paper scissors stuff, Hallie having a go at Big Brother. Like, there was some interesting drama, but this week has just been a bit ridiculous. So, in the previous episode, they were made to do 2 different challenges, and each team won an advantage for the final challenge. The final challenge rolled around, and it was they were given like a trough of dirt, and they had to dig through it to find puzzle pieces. And then on the other side would be their queen, and through the conversation of mime, because the worker ants had like ear defenders on so they couldn't hear anything, they had to fit together a puzzle based on what the queen ant could see. It was very confusing, but from what I saw, there was no advantage for the teams. So I wonder whether because one team won one challenge and one team won the other challenge, there was no sort of advantage needed because they would have both had said advantage. But I just thought, what was the point of yesterday's activities if it meant nothing today? And then we found out that this challenge was the thing that decided whether they got the shopping task or not. So really, nothing that happened yesterday mattered, which kind of sucks. Like, it was entertaining, but nothing mattered. And I think that's one of the biggest problems I had with the shopping task, was that the whole thing hinged on this final challenge. So the orange team and the blue team, they were racing to put their puzzle pieces together. They had to complete it in under 15 minutes in order to pass the challenge. I thought that it would be like one team got the luxury shopping budget, one team got the economy, but no. One of the teams, let's just talk about the teams actually. So the orange team managed to get it done in 14 minutes 11 seconds. The orange team managed it in 15 minutes 11 seconds. So really, it was 11 seconds that fucked them up. And as far as Jenkin was concerned, it was because Noki spent too long checking when it was correct. So I can understand the frustrations and I can understand why they're upset, because that 11 seconds cost them the luxury shopping budget. And because Orange Team did it in time, they got control over the shopping budget. And I think that's a very interesting thing that happened, because like I'm glad Dylan was in charge of the shopping list, because he knocks it out the park again. He does it so systematically and so well, because if he's cooking for people, he knows what food they're gonna need, because he knows how much he needs to cook. So yeah, I think the Orange team was the right team to win, but I felt like the rules to this challenge weren't explained very well, and so they didn't necessarily make a great deal of sense, and therefore it didn't feel like the whole thing paid off very well. Interestingly, outside, Trish, Olivia, and Noki were talking about Dylan, and they weren't outside, they were upstairs. Ignore me. They were talking about Dylan and how he's a bit protective over the kitchen, and how he doesn't get offended when people don't want to eat his meals, but he almost takes it personally. And I think that is completely fair and valid from their point of view, and I understand why he is the way he is with food, because I would probably be that kind of person in the house where like I'm a person that I don't trust people cooking my food for me. Like if you're a close friend, of course, but like if I've just met you, I don't know. Like, do you wash your hands? I don't know. Do you like? Are you good with raw chicken? Like, it's that kind of thing where I would end up backseat cooking, so I might as well just do the cooking myself. So I understand where Dylan's coming from with the fact that he wants to control the meals, because then he knows what's being divvied up and everyone gets fed somewhat. But then I also understand that sometimes you don't want to have those meals, sometimes you might not like those meals, and that's absolutely fair and valid. And I think there's a lot more going on than just the food issue. And I think that's what was tying it back with Olivia when she was saying, well, he also leaves the toilet seat up and he doesn't seem to like care about it at all. She did go on a little bit of a rant about that, and I just kind of sat there like, really? Like, ah, like I do understand your frustration, but like you need to have this conversation with him. If this is how you feel, have this conversation with him. I know you told him to do it, but like tell him how it makes you feel, because then he might think differently. Do you know what I mean? So I did find this quite funny in the episode when Paul was complaining to Big Brother that like he was pissed off because Noki and Olivia were laughing at him during that argument. And then Noki later on was saying how she was pissed off with Paul because he was laughing during the argument. So like, is this actually just an argument over nothing? Like, did two parties just kind of blow up at each other for no apparent reason? Yeah, probably. Like, I've watched it, and even I sat there and I was like, I'm so confused why this is blowing up. Neither party helped. Like Olivia, Noki, and Paul all helped contribute to that thing blowing up. And I think Paul and Olivia, they had the conversation, they made up. Yes, that's fine. But Paul didn't want to make up with Noki because he felt that she isn't as close to him. So therefore, why is she coming with the same energy that Olivia is? So I can understand it again from both sides. I think Paul was definitely a bit of a dickhead in that situation. He wasn't being the nicest person, and Noki did kind of get the brunt of the anger. I'm assuming because Paul knew that Olivia was joking, whereas he didn't know that Noki was. And I think that's why when he apologized to Noki, he was like, look, we aren't like that, or we haven't been like that. So I responded with anger because I didn't know it was like that. And I can get that. I can get behind that reasoning. I might not agree with it, but I can understand where he's coming from. So yeah, I can understand it. So the like third or fourth part of the episode was kind of devoted to Hallie planning some mischief for the house. So she went into the bedroom and hid Matty, Henry, and Olivia. Was it Olivia? Yeah, it was Olivia. Those three. She took all of their bedding and their like pillows and stuff and hid them around the bedroom as a sort of joke. And it was quite funny, and I was all on board for it. And then she went outside and she was like, "Oh, I've hidden all your stuff." And then Tom and Paul went inside and hid Hallie's stuff. And then Hallie started kicking off because she was like, "I haven't done anything to you guys. Why are you doing this?" And they were like, "Oh, it's like community repercussions." And then Hallie went into the Big Brother room and complained, and I just sat there. I sat there and I thought, at your big age of 18, at your big age, are you really sitting there and it's like taking someone's sweets and going, haha, I got your sweets. And then someone taking your sweets and then you going to the teacher and being like, they stole my sweets. What? No, you stole someone else's sweets first. They're just stealing it, like stealing some from you to make it even somewhat. And I think that's absolutely fair and valid. And I think I would like to believe and I would like to give her the benefit of the doubt that this was all a joke. And it was again, I don't want to say this, but performative. But I don't get why she was getting so upset about it. And then they took the mattress, and I think that's when she realised it was a joke. And it was just very, very funny. And then, oh, bless her, Jenkin had multiple times throughout this episode asked her to back away because you're invading my personal space. I'm not comfortable with you being this close. Please stop touching me. Multiple times. He was cooking burgers for her and she was just not. He was like, I'm really hot. Can you just leave me alone? She was like, I'll fan you. No, just leave me alone. No, no, I'll fan you. No, leave me alone. And I don't think she was getting the message. And then later, she was doing the same and it pissed him off. And I can completely understand that because when you've got someone like Hallie who seems to have so much energy like that at certain times and you've just got none, like bearing in mind this was like 1 or 2 in the morning. So like I don't blame Jenkin for being annoyed. However, I do think he kind of snapped at her a little bit and should have just been like, look, and explained himself more eloquently. But I also understand why he didn't want to do that because he was just pissed off and it was 2 a.m. in the morning. And I know what it's like 2 a.m. in the morning when someone's pissing you off and you just go, fuck off because I don't want you near me. Um, and then Hallie was like, oh, it's because I'm drunk. And I was like, what do you mean you're drunk? They gave the house, I think it was 4 bottles of wine and 2 bottles of Prosecco for 14 of them. What were you getting drunk on? Because, like, the maximum you could have had was 3 glasses of wine, I reckon. I don't even think 3 glasses of wine would manage. Like, I think 2. How are you getting drunk off of that? What are you doing? The gang played Would You Rather, which was actually quite an entertaining part of the episode. I thought there were some good Would You Rather questions being asked. Tom was asked, would he take the 100k now or stay for the 6 weeks and have nothing by the end of it? And he chose 6 weeks and nothing. And I don't know. I think it depends what you're in it for. If you're in it for the game and for the like Big Brother experience, then the money might not matter. But if you're in it for the money, then take the money. Do you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. Because I think I'd go in there for the Big Brother experience, but I'm not going in to come out with nothing. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's difficult because with the UK version, it's a popularity contest. So if you're not popular, you're not winning the money. Whereas like in the US version, it doesn't matter how popular you are with the public. If you're a good game player, you can win the money. So like in that respect, I think the Big Brother in the US is more interesting to watch on a level because you get sort of people playing games and it's very clear they're playing games and there's a lot of backstabbing. Whereas like in this version, you see a filtered version of everyone because they're hyper aware that they are being filmed and that the public have the final say. So I don't think that we're seeing the authentic version of a lot of these people, which Is a shame. I think some people we are definitely seeing authentic versions of, but there are some people that we're not. And I'm not going to name names, but let's just say there's been a lot of chat about them not being authentic in the house. And I kind of agree. I'm not going to lie. The next few ones were Kerry was asked, would she rather be up for elimination each week or fast track to the finale? And she said she'd rather be up for elimination each week, which I think is fair. At least then if you survive, then it means that the public's kind of backing you somewhat. The public is not backing Kerry. Although I've got to say, the last 3 episodes this week, not been annoying me at all. If anything, I'm starting to like her a lot more. But I wonder whether she's aware that the public dislike her, so she's toning down herself. Or on the flip side, she's realised that her villain path isn't working out for her, so now she's going back to how she would act. So I don't know. It's a tricky one with Kerry. You don't know what you're going to get on a daily basis, but I have a feeling that she will not be up for a nomination this week because I don't think the house is as angry with her presence as some other people in the house. Yeah, we'll go with that. I can't think of how to finish that sentence. Anyway, the next one was Paul was asked, would you rather get rid of Olivia or Tom? And he chose Olivia. And then Olivia was asked, would you rather live with 10 Pauls or 10 Toms? And she said 10 Pauls, which I don't know if I'd want to live with 10 Pauls. Hallie was asked, would you rather be a virgin for life or would you rather lose your virginity to someone in the house? And she said someone in the house. And they all joked about Paul and she went red. And then she joked about it being Jenkin. And Jenkin was like... And it was quite funny. That was quite a funny moment. I was going to include that on my iconic moments. But like, it was such a small sort of snippet that I thought I'd just include it here. And the final question that was asked was... to Matty, would you rather have an affair with someone in the house or watch your partner have an affair with someone? And he said he'd rather watch his partner have an affair with someone. So this kind of backs up my theory of Matty does not like Jordan in that way, and therefore Jordan, do not get feelings, please, because it's going to be so messy, and I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. Stick with your husband, please. So yeah, that's kind of the episode's events. Let's move on to some iconic quotes and moments. First up, we've got who needs Urban Dictionary when you've got Tom, said by Henry. They were having a conversation outside and Tom seems to be that person at school that you knew where they'd say a word and you'd be like, what does that mean? And it would be some depraved sexual thing. And it does make me chuckle, and I'm starting to like Tom a little bit more now that he's coming out of his shell and he's becoming more comfortable around everyone. I think also he's getting more screen time, so it's helping to make him less of a boring character. I still think he's not very interesting, but there are moments where I'm like, oh, I wasn't bored by you in that moment. Jordan was talking about one of his sexual experiences when the person got undressed and he said, is that it? I couldn't be hearing that. I actually couldn't be hearing that. I think I burst into tears and I'd cry and I'd curl up in the ball and I'd have to leave. I'd have to put my clothes back on and leave. How embarrassing would that be? Yinran asked Jordan what would make him happy and he said a bottle of wine. This man is after my heart. Yes, 100%. Like, a bottle of wine is exactly what would make me happy most days. And she said going to the supermarket, which is such a Yinran thing to say. Like, I would expect nothing less from her. So, yeah, very funny indeed. There was a moment where Jordan, when I am, and then he hesitated and then said human, and it was so funny because everyone's kind of been joking around with him about him being a robot, and the fact that he said that was just the funniest thing ever because he hesitated before he said human. What is going on? Why is this a thing? And that's all we have time for today. Thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the nomination ceremony. Apparently 3 people are up for nominations, which makes me think it's going to be a double elimination, and I'm going to be there on Friday. If I can get in. I've got tickets, so I'm going to be going along with my friend, and we're hopefully going to be in the audience. So if you're watching live, make sure to keep an eye out, because hopefully I'll be able to do a quick hey on the cameras. If not, then it's not that deep. I've still got to experience it, but it would be quite cool to be immortalized forever on a Big Brother episode. Anyway, thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the nomination ceremony. Keep on ranting. Bye now.